of myself, David Blumeyer, Pam, Bill.
Why don't you guys stand up?
Josh. Stand up. Say your full names.
I can't.
Say your full names.
Bill Love.
Pam Weaver.
I'm Miles Starrett.
Josh Mitchell. Our company is very simply a market-specific online storefront.
Let me be
Maybe
here.
you want to stand closer. Maybe you want to stand closer.
Okay.
to it.
You want to go to the next one, right? Should just be up here. There you go. There you go.
Our market is U.S. military personnel and their families. That's a pretty big market. There's 1.4 million people who are on active duty, 850,000 who are reserved. That's all the different branches. 53% of them are married, and we couldn't get good data on how many of them have dependents, but the answer is it's a big market. They're all online. If you work for the military, you're required to be online for, among other things, like getting paid, so everybody does it. Average income per household is on the low end, 54K plus. So that establishes a market. The one thing that ties them all together is that they're all sporadically isolated. This can be I'm in Iraq, this can be I'm in Japan, this can be I'm in a fort in the middle of nowhere. But one way or another, everyone in the military occasionally is outside of the normal loop. Straight to the pain, existing retailers do not meet the special needs of this market. They're consistent and predictable items with unmet demand, especially, for instance, a lot of our primary focus is in theater. When you arrive in theater, there's a set of goods that you're going to want. You can anticipate some of it, but a lot of them you can't, and it's the same for pretty much everyone. Most everyone lives in an aluminum box. In an aluminum box, for instance, you can't really use thumbtacks to put up a poster, and there are no hooks on the wall. So first thing you want is some of those 3M tabs, and you probably want some suction hooks. And this is consistent for everyone. The other thing that no one thinks to do is that, hey, I'm going to live in this trailer for a year, so I'm probably going to want to decorate. You know, you only have so many pounds of baggage, and you're all worried about dying, so you don't pack your frilly things. But people want those things, especially the females who make up something like 30% of the people over there. Existing online retailers don't have their content in a format which is useful to people in the circumstance. Like, there are very important questions when you're buying stuff to take it overseas, like how well does it deal with sand and heat, and does my warranty cover that? Just at a very baseline level. There's a lot of other questions, but that's one of the most important. And putting that in your review criteria and how you display products is something that goes a long way. In addition, you have bandwidth issues. Wherever you are in the military, unless you're lucky enough to live in a civilian population that has good bandwidth that you can leash from, you're going to have crummy bandwidth. That's because at work, just about anyone in the military, unless they're an IT guy or real close to a big fight with important people, has pretty crummy internet connections. So browsing is slow in the United States, and overseas it's worse than copper for most people. You may have an hour of internet a week. You may use the internet twice during an entire tour in a computer lab with 48 people after waiting for 4 hours. So one of the big problems is that sites like Amazon and conventional ways of doing retail, they suck up a lot of bandwidth, and load time kills you, especially since you have drop connection issues over there very sporadically. So if it doesn't load now, you may never see it. And that's a major issue that's not addressed. Also, shipping overseas is difficult at best. There are a fair number of retailers that just won't ship overseas. It's getting better than it used to be, but there's still a lot, especially for specialty goods, or if you want this specific price. Click. On our competition, I'll start with the good news because it's mainly all good news. There are no competitors that directly address our pain. The closest competitors that we have is there isn't a company store, so to speak, in the military called the PX. AAFES, they have different branches with different franchising, but realistically they have an online catalog with prices at a higher price than anyone else in the United States. And then the stores that they have really limited selections and you may or may not have access. Now if you're lucky and live in the main post somewhere, it's pretty good, but for the most part, they're going to be out of about at least somewhere between a quarter and 3/4 of the goods that you want at any given time. And there's a lot of selection issue, as you can imagine, which is a lot of why people go online anyway. Like, for instance, there was only one iPod available when mine got broken. Okay, I bought it, and I bought it for 150% of what I would have paid for it at Best Buy because it's a company more store mentality and you have a captured audience. In addition, Amazon will deliver some things to APOAE stuff, but there's limits. They won't deal with certain classes of electronics because rather than bothering to find out which classes of electronics and items are a violation, they just decided, hey, electronics, we just won't send it because it's easier to try and figure it out. Walmart, same deal. The closest to a solution to some of the problems of shipping that exist is APObox.com. APObox.com basically allows you to ship things to an address that they give you for money, and then they will reship them to you overseas to get around that problem. The thing about it though is that they charge somewhere between $24 and $50 per package that you send this way. So rather than solving the problem, they add another layer and an extra fee, which is awfully hard to deal with while you're overseas anyway. Like, at a simple level, the means that we're going to go about executing this is an online storefront which has low and high bandwidth options. That'll be tagged to an auto detect, but you can tag back and forth between them. The next slide, you'll see both of them. And we're going to have market-driven content. That means we're going to have targeted products. We're actually going to do a fair bit of survey work and find out what people wanted when they got there and make sure that we have that available in a hurry and a place where people are going to see it. Like you get there and you're like, hey, I need stuff. We're going to provide some of the expertise and even try to anticipate things that soldiers don't get in that first month so we can help them out in that direction. We're also going to put a peer review process in place, and this brings us to one of the key points of the entire business plan. There's a handful of businesses out there where even though they are for-profit businesses, you have to be a member of the military